Welcome to the Reset and Start a New Financial Journey Masterclass. Here we are going to talk about how to start a new financial journey for your finances and to get back on track if you've happened to fallen off track. During this workshop this evening, we will be covering two different major topics. The first topic that we're going to cover is developing a healthy with a Y, developing a healthy money mindset. And the second topic that we're going to cover this evening is the matters of money. The three matters of money we'll discuss is the personal net worth, cash flow, and financial goals. These are three of the five different main important aspects of your finances that you need to pay attention to if you want to have continuous, just close monitoring of your finances. The 5-star money maintenance toolkit is the workbook that I've actually written, and these are three of those 5 stars. So we're going to cover quite a bit of information in this workshop. So I hope that it is valuable to you. If there's any questions along the way, please feel free to either hold them to the end, or if they're itching and burning, go ahead and drop them in the comment box or in the chat. So it's important that we understand that when it comes to your finances, it begins with your mindset. And in order for you to change your mindset around your finances, it's important to understand where you stand mentally when it comes to learning more information. The difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset is a fixed mindset is standing still. There is no opportunity for growth. There is no opportunity for expansion. And ultimately, that leaves no opportunity for change, and that leaves no opportunity for new habits to be formed. So here, I want to congratulate you because it appears as though you have a growth mindset. You're taking the time out on your busy weekday evening to watch this masterclass and to learn about how to further improve your finances. So congratulations, we are both in a growth mindset phase, and there's nothing but positive things that can come from that. I want to start off by telling you a little bit more about myself. If you don't know me, or if you're getting to know me a little bit more, why am I here? How am I even qualified to be in front of you to share this type of information? Well, just a little bit of my background. I'm not going to go too far into detail, but personal finance or finance in general has always been a love of mine. I actually was one of those people who went to school for something that I continue to do when I got older. I have a bachelor's degree in financial management. I also went on to get a master's degree in business administration. Business is one of my second favorite loves. I mean, you put them together, business and money, they literally go hand in hand. However, over the years, I've had my indulgence is in entrepreneurship. And I've really enjoyed, the different companies that I've done. A lot of it is centered around education when it comes to finance and business. So we're not going to go too far into that about me, but most importantly, it's important that I want you to know that I love creating and I love educating. And creating is what we are doing when it comes to your finances, is creating a financial plan based off of what it is that you want to accomplish, based off of the goals that you want to see come into reality for your life. And educating, because education is the only way that you can get there, right? So here is where we begin to dive into this masterclass. And we're talking about a healthy money mindset. Your finances will not change if your mindset does not change. In order for you to have a new mindset and to receive new results, it's important for us to really get in there and find out what are our current beliefs? What are we currently thinking about money? The reason why we need to know these things is because these beliefs, these thoughts, these values are the things that have been attracting our current financial situation to us. And so in order for us to see some changes, we need to make those changes internally. So this is what this first section is about. Understanding what a money mindset truly is. A money mindset is the perception that a person has towards money. Now, we didn't say anything about it being positive or about it being negative. This is simply just a perception of whatever it is that you think towards money. That is your money mindset. And every single person has one. You can also think of it as a collection of your thoughts and beliefs towards your attitudes towards money. So this is basically just any type of representation or any type of relationship that you have with money. This is your money mindset. Okay. Just simply put, it's all about you and how you think. Your money mindset is all about you and your connection with money. So there are two types of mindsets when it comes to having a money mindset, right? We have a healthy money mindset, which is where we are focused on abundance. If you are, religious, or maybe you just have that a connection, you believe in something that is bigger, something that created everything. You trust in God, or whatever you want to call that entity. However, you also have that positive expectation and self-confidence. These are attributes of someone who has a healthy money mindset. But not only are these attributes of a healthy money mindset, these are things that would help you to increase money coming into your life. That would put you in a position to where you're able to attract more finances into your life because the mindset around finances is healthy. Now let's look on the other side of things. On the other side of things, we have an unhealthy money mindset. And if you have some of these, attributes or characteristics, it's okay. I'm always here to encourage you that it's okay to not be at 100%. It's okay to not be, have everything as far as being the healthiest money mindset or doing everything right, because this is where we have a place of awareness. This is where we become aware of where we currently are so that we can make changes into a better situation. So with an unhealthy money mindset, this is where we can become aware of the times that we lack trust. If we lack that, something is going to work out, if you're not sure or you don't believe it is, that's lacking trust, negative expectations, actually expecting something negative to happen. Those are unhealthy money mindsets. And another thing is short-term thinking. When it comes to finances, if you're not rolling around in Bill Gates money or rolling around in, Jeff Bezos money, then you have to think a little bit more longer term when it comes to your finances. Thinking longer term gives you a more of an opportunity. It gives you time to save, to increase your income, right? Because money is not just pouring in on us like we would want it to. If that was the case, then we would not be here in this masterclass today. So I want to urge you to start thinking a little bit long term when it comes to your finances. It's more of a healthier mindset. Have you ever heard of the saying, or ever said the saying, been guilty of that, when it rains, it pours? That's an unhealthy money mindset. That's actually a negative affirmation. When it rains, it pours. Basically, that's saying that when one bill comes or one thing negative happens, that you're expecting other negative things to follow up after that. When it rains a little bit, it's going to just pour. It's important that we change our mindset around that and that we don't think about it in that way. If you expect one negative thing, to occur, don't expect more of them to occur, because you get what you expect. I actually had a workshop this past weekend, and a gentleman had shared with me his perception. Remember when I said perceptions can be good or bad? He shared with me his perception of when it rains, it pours. He actually said that he looks at it in this way. When it rains, it pours, meaning that when money is coming in, when it rains in, it's going to pour down. So when I actually do have that income coming in, when payday comes, it is going to pour down on me in an abundance of finances. So I really like the way that he sort of rephrased and repositioned that saying. But I want to leave you with this understanding, is that having a healthy money mindset is the same thing as having an abundant mindset. And having an abundant mindset is greater than having a fearful mindset. The lack of trust, the negative expectations, thinking short term, and having negative affirmations all encompasses fear around your money. And when there is fear, there is a repel, right? So you're not necessarily bringing yourself closer to it. Let's more so hone into the abundant mindset. Some of the things that you could be saying, when you have this abundant mindset, so that you're more aware of it when it comes, is I have faith that, I will keep going, because when things get tough, these are affirmations that you can just begin to say and just finish the sentence, cultivating that abundant mindset inside of you and offsetting and putting off that fearful mindset and just tucking away those unhealthy money mindset thoughts. I said mindset like so many times. But just knowing that, you can remind yourself to think about, I am looking forward to, I'm looking forward to this happen. That's cultivating those positive expectations. I am already grateful that. And these are things that you don't necessarily have to apply just to your finances, but you can apply these to your life situations in general. I am already grateful that, my business has, I don't know, reached $5,000 in profit this month. You can play around with this. But one thing that I don't want you to do, what I don't want you to do is to remain in this fearful mindset, saying things such as, I can't, or it takes too much work to do, X, Y, and Z, or I'm afraid that. Take chances, take risk, live in abundance, and never say that I'll never be able to, because then you are making that true. Okay. An abundant mindset is what we need to bring things into our lives. The fearful mindset is what we use to keep things at bay. So there are 3 steps to developing a healthy money mindset. The first step is to identify your current money mindset. It's to know and understand what your values are. Where are you currently placing your values? One thing that I can say for sure, when it comes to your finances, one of the best ways for you to know and understand where your values are is to look at where you've been spending your money. Take a look at your bank account if you use your debit card often, or maybe even a credit card, and take inventory on where the larger percentage of your finances are going. Of course, outside of living expenses. But all of the, the additional income, the net income that you have left over after your bills are paid, what are you spending your money on? That's going to show you a little bit more about what you place your values in unconsciously at that. Next is to think about your future expectations. Really, really think about where you expect your life to be within the next 6 months, year, 5, or even 10 years. Thinking about the future and having that long-term thinking is cultivating that healthy money mindset. But it's also helping you to understand, where you currently are, so that you can develop a plan to get to where you want to be financially. And next is to check yourself. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. That is such an old saying, but it's always good. If you want to know where you currently stand in your money mindset and your thoughts, understand and pay attention to what you do, what you say when you react to tough times. When things get rough, when your money gets a little low, when you have unexpected bills that come up, what is your reaction to that? What is your thought process around that? Do you say some of the abundant affirmations, or are you guilty of having some of those fearful affirmations? These are things that are going to help you to understand where your current money mindset lies. So on the worksheet that you have inside of the Masterclass workbook guide, there's number 1 on the very first page here, and just go ahead and figure out, just jot down, what your current money mindset is. Next is to begin the shift. Step 2 in developing a healthy money mindset is to begin the shift, right? We're going to find simple ways to transform your money mindset. So think about ways where we can look at your mindset differently. How do we do this? I love, love, love the idea of determining your why. Have you ever been doing something and you're sort of doing it mindlessly, and after a while, you'll sort of realize, why am I even doing this? And then you'll get to the point where you just stop altogether. Well, this is why we want to determine our why up front, because we want to make sure that we are continuing along and we're having progression along the way, that we have that due diligence and that we're sticking with the process. So I really, really urge you to determine your why, determine why you need to change your money mindset. Determine why you need to think differently when it comes to your finances. What impact will this have on your life? Next is to balance your wants and your needs. Start thinking about some of the things that you have been rewarding yourself with. That's a want, right? Think about some of the things that you maybe have not been giving yourself that is a need. And this could be, well, this, of course, it definitely lies along the lines of finances. But I also want you to stretch yourself because we as individuals, everything about our lives impacts our finances, right? And so when we're thinking about, balancing your wants and your needs, also balance that need to spend time with yourself. Balance that need to, maybe grow or to meditate or maybe even to sit down and read a book. Balancing those needs and those wants will help you to be a little bit more calm and be a little bit more relaxed so you're not doing things such as emotional eating, retail shopping, retail therapy. We're going to keep moving here. Show and feel gratitude. One of the best ways that I think, I may have said this for another one because I think all of the ways are good, but one of the greatest ways that I think that you can shift your money mindset is to show and to feel gratitude, is to make that emotional shift on the inside. Once you make that emotional shift on the inside, it's going to have a direct impact on your thought process. And that thought process is going to then have you thinking and acting differently. Therefore, the outside world has no choice but to respond to you differently because you're responding to the outside world differently. So let's hone in into your feelings, feel gratitude, have that positive expectation by knowing that things are going to be okay and saying already ahead of time, oh, I'm so grateful. I am so happy that this is working out. Like I am financially, free. I am taken care of. There's no stress. Talk it out. All right. And next is to set big goals. This goes along with that positive expectation. This also goes along with long-term thinking, right? Set big goals so that you have, that you're making room to meet them. We're setting goals so that we can eventually reach them, allowing ourselves to have discipline along the way, allowing ourselves to learn and understand ourselves, building our relationship with our finances along that way. Eventually, you'll definitely meet your big goal. But it's important that you actually set those goals first and really, really define them. That's actually the next section that we're going to go over. And lastly is to be confident. It's to be confident that you know that you have the ability to change your money mindset. We can talk about finances. We can crunch the numbers. We could take out your checkbook. We could look at all of, the how much money you spent here and there, but absolutely none of that matters. None of that matters unless you have the mindset to match. As a matter of fact, I could give you $1 million today. As a matter of fact, I could, you know what? My brain goes a million seconds, a minute, whatever you want to call it. But something just came to my mind. I actually read a news article. There was a lady who won the lottery for, I believe it was $28 million. If it wasn't 28, it was 20. I just remember those numbers. And several years later, you can Google it. I'm pretty sure it'll show up. Several years later, she didn't have any money. She had nothing. Right? How does that happen? And I'm pretty sure that you've heard of similar instances and something like that happening where you win a lottery or you come into a large sum of money, and that individual, several years later, they're broke again. They have nothing. Why? Because their mindset didn't change. They didn't change internally, but their external circumstances changed. And what happened is their external world, it's going to match up with what's going on internally. So make sure that we are confident, we're setting those big goals, and we're feeling that gratitude so that we can make that shift. Now that we have understood some of the things that we can do to begin making a shift. It is time to reshape and create new beliefs in your mindset. What I love to look at, what I love to just pay attention to when it comes to doing something like, when it comes to recreating your mindset, is to take a look at scripture. And this is one of my favorite scriptures, where it talks about writing the vision and making it plain. Write the vision and make it plain on tablets, that he may run who reads it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, that he may run who reads it. Once you have this vision written, once you have made it plain, you have defined it, and it is very clear, go. It is go time. It is go time for you to go and to make this vision real. Next is to be renewed. To be renewed in the spirit of your mind so that you can put on a new man. What we are doing right now is we are creating a new money mindset. In order to create something new, we have to get rid of the old. And so with that being the case, I want to encourage you to renew the spirit of your mind. We are spiritual individuals. I'm pretty sure you've probably heard that. And if you haven't, congratulations. That's one of the greatest things that I've learned in my life. And I hope that it's impactful to you. But it's very important that we renew ourselves. So this is the perfect opportunity for you to renew yourself. So what is the step-by-step process that we can go through to put on that new man and renew ourselves? It's one, to look at our future. It's to imagine your financial future and to think, what does that look like? What does that feel like? And really define it. Next is to write down your why. Understand your primary motivation for wanting change. Like, really understand why you need change. And then next is to write your new beliefs. Write down 1 to 3 new beliefs about your future and why you want them. I do suggest for you to write 1 sentence for each belief. This is actually an exercise that is on your handout. So if you have that handout handy, I do encourage you to go ahead and follow those first 3 steps and write these new beliefs. And just remember that an abundant mindset, it comes from above. An abundant mindset will always keep you lifted and attracting what it is that you want in your life. The fearful mindset, it's going to combat that abundant mindset. And it's going to try to take over, and it's going to come from beneath. But it's important that we always know and understand that the choice is yours. The choice is yours, whether you're going to choose abundance or whether you are going to choose fear. But I want to also remind you that you can continue to keep making this choice over and over again. If you find yourself in a negative cycle or in a continuous cycle of fearful thoughts, of negative thoughts, it's okay. Because every day, every moment is an opportunity for you to make a new choice. And I encourage you to take that opportunity because no one can take it away from you. All right, and next here is where we're talking about the personal money matters. This is where we get into our very first star. This first star is net worth. Your personal net worth matters. What exactly is net worth? This is a number of personal assets minus personal liabilities. So it's the difference between your assets and liabilities. We can look at it as a numerical representation of your personal value after all of your debt has been considered. So after we take a look at everything that you owe to other people, and we take a look at how much you currently own, whatever that difference is your net worth. Your net worth can be something that's positively increasing, and it could be something that is negatively decreasing. But it's important to know that your net worth is something that is always moving. It's never just stagnant, sort of like your credit score. So there's a simple formula for looking at our net worth, which is assets minus liabilities equals your net worth. Your net worth helps you to figure out exactly where you stand financially. It serves like a financial snapshot Like if someone wanted to take a picture, if someone wanted to take a picture of your financial situation, they would just take a quick and it would be of your net worth. Oh, this is how much this person is worth financially. Next, it also helps you to understand where you currently are. Once you get to the point to where you're setting those big, defined, and clear goals, it's important that you understand exactly where you are on that map so that you can make your way towards that goal. So starting here with your net worth is the perfect starting point for you to know where you are, to track yourself and your progress on the way to achieving your goals. One of the biggest things that I really like about the net worth is that it helps you to know what your past behaviors are or were and what your past cycles were. It's pretty much just an update. What have you been doing with your money? Who have you been borrowing money from? How much money have you been able to accumulate over this period of time? And next, your net worth shows your value. Not necessarily your value as a person, but your financial value up until a certain period of time, of course. And so your personal net worth, it's important that we know why this number is important. Why should we know this value? As I mentioned before, your net worth reveals where you are headed. It's terrible to, just wake up or just to realize one day, oh my gosh, I'm headed in the wrong direction. One of the worst things about that is if you get too far along, it may be a lot more difficult for you to turn around and head in the right direction. So understanding your net worth ahead of time keeps you ahead of any surprises or any, negative things that may occur within your finances. It also tells you how you're spending versus savings and vice versa. Literally, both sides of the equation is what you owe and what you own. What are the balance between those two as far as spending and saving? Also, it tells you where the majority of your debt is. A lot of the times when I'm working with clients and we're determining, their net worth, we're actually going through and we're looking at the different accounts. We will notice that debt is a little bit heavier, that the liabilities on your net worth can be a lot more heavier due to larger purchases in your younger years. For example, if you purchase a car, if you purchase a house, large purchases like that has a really big impact on the liability side of your net worth. We're going to talk a little bit more about that here in a moment. And lastly is financial awareness so that you don't have any surprises in your finances. And so when it comes to our net worth, we want to make sure that if you have a positive net worth, that's good, right? But it's not the ultimate goal. That's not where we're looking to end up. Even if you have a negative net worth, that's not terrible. It's not the end of the world. We just want to remind you that time is our most precious resource and that you can make the change from, positive to a negative net worth. You can also increase your net worth even more if you would like to. Just remember that your net worth serves as a wake-up call. This is something that is continuously changing, just like a credit score. So don't get bummed out, if it's not where you want it to be. Use it as motivation for you to continue to press forward and be disciplined in managing and improving your finances. And lastly is use it as a guide. Use this as a guide to where, okay, this is where I was on October 2022. Now we're doing another evaluation, 6 months from now. Let's see where we are. Okay, great. Where do we need to go from there? What actions do we need to take? So when it comes to calculating your current personal net worth, again, the simple formula that we talked about is the assets minus your liabilities equals your net worth. For this particular area, we're going to focus on the assets. What exactly is an asset? An asset is a tangible or non-tangible property that belongs to a person with a specific value. That's the main thing about an asset, is it just has a value. It has value to it. If it's something that that has monetary value, it is an asset. So some examples of assets would be cash, or anything that's cash equivalent, like a money order, real estate, any type of property, retirement accounts, 401k, IRAs, well, whatever the case may be. Even life insurance, the cash value that's in there is an asset as well. Anything that is currently owned, anything that you currently own is an asset. So when it comes to calculating your assets, go ahead and refer to your workbook guide. We actually have some templates directly from the 5-Star Money Maintenance Workbook. So you're getting a sneak peek on what's inside of this 5-Star Money Maintenance Workbook. So for our step 1 is where you simply just make a list of your current assets and its value. So actually have a list of the assets already listed there on your worksheet. So on the right side, just go ahead and write down the total of write down the total of what that asset value is. I do encourage you to be as specific as you can. The more specific you are, the more your end number will be accurate. But if you can't, be as specific down to the dollar, that's okay. Do your best to round. And just remember that this is the use of an estimate of your current asset value. So if you need to use an estimate, that's okay. That's perfectly okay if you don't have the exact numbers. So the next parts of this particular area is where we actually calculate. The step 2 is where we calculate all of the values that are in our total column. And this is where we have our total asset value. Okay. We're going to go ahead and move on to step 3, which is our liabilities. Understanding our liabilities. What is a liability? Well, it's the state of being liable or responsible for a debt or an accounts payable. Basically, it's just a legal financial obligation that's owed to another person, another company, or another institution, right? So for the sake of your net worth, we're not necessarily going to include, that $20 that you may have borrowed from your cousin last week, but we will include, that maybe $500 that you had borrowed, from the bank, whatever the case may be, right? So long story short, liability is anything that you currently owe to someone or a company. So what we're going to do in this step is to make a list of your current liabilities and the current debt amount that is owed. So from some examples of the liabilities would be, as far as your house, if you currently own your home, the amount of debt that you have in that home, your mortgage debt, that would be your liability amount. On the flip side of that, if you currently have equity in your home, let's say, for example, that you have $15,000 of equity inside of your home. Well, on the asset side of your net worth equation, we're going to use that 15,000. And on the liability side of the equation is going to be the remaining mortgage debt that we currently owe. That same example will be used for things such as automobiles. If you have on the asset side, it will be the current value of your vehicle if you were to sell it today. On the other side, which is the liability side, is how much you currently owe on that vehicle. So there are times when you will run into certain situations where something would fall on both sides of the equation. But it's important that you assess exactly the specific dollar amount that's supposed to go to the asset or the liability side. So for your liabilities, we want to make sure that we make a list of our current liabilities and its current debt amount, like I had mentioned before. And next, we are going to calculate all of those values that is in the total liabilities field. And this is where we have our total liabilities. And we are going to now apply the full formula, which is the assets minus our liabilities is our net worth. So now that we have both equations here, both parts of the equation that is complete, we're going to subtract our liabilities from the value of your total assets. And this is going to give you what your personal net worth value is. Now, some things to remember about your personal net worth. Knowing your net worth is a great indicator of stability. It helps you to see how stable you currently are, and also can help you to see, future instability that may be coming. A negative net worth, it does not mean that you are doing terribly. I want to constantly remind you of that positive changes can be made, that they definitely can be made. It just takes time and effort and continuous maintenance. And that's what we're here teaching you. If you want to have more additional information in regards to how to properly manage your finances, I definitely urge you to get the 5-Star Money Maintenance Toolkit. Teaches you how to apply your, just money management skills to the 5 major parts of your finances so that you have 5-star finances. Next is your debts are typically higher in your younger years. So remember that. Remember that if you're a little bit younger, if you have some really large purchases that you've made recently, allow that to give you a little bit of peace to know, okay, I've actually been making some purchases. We have some assets, some things that fall on both sides of the equations. I still have opportunity to improve my net worth. Next, your net worth isn't what you earn, but it's just the difference of what you own and versus what you owe. Okay. And the reason why I want to make sure that I'm, sort of giving you this information and being a little bit more redundant about it is because in most cases, when we're a little bit younger, our net worth is negative. And that could possibly have a negative impact on your perception of money, directly affecting your money mindset. But it's important that I let you know that these things are definitely subject to change, and they can change. Your net worth can make a positive change with a plan and financial discipline. I didn't even know that was coming up, but it can change. It can definitely make a positive change with a plan and discipline. And that's why we are here today to show you how to do that. So let's go ahead and dive into our next step, which is our personal cash flow. Your personal cash flow is the flow of money that's going in and out of a business or your household. I like to look at it as a business. I like to look at my personal finances as a business because it's something that it has to keep going, right? It has to stay running. It has to stay, the lights have to stay on. I have to eat, right? And so we can look at this as cash that's flowing out of your household. And we can also look at it as in cash that is flowing in to your wallet or to your household, however you want to look at it. But cash flow is basically cash that's moving in and out of your personal finances. So there are some harmful effects of you ignoring your cash flow. One of those harmful effects is just going out, enjoying your shopping, right? Just doing blind spending. But the result of blind spending means that your cash flow is, I don't know. You have no idea what your cash flow is when you're spending blindly, but I can tell you that maybe at the end of the month or the end of the week, or maybe even the end of the day, when you do decide to check your check balance or your account balance, you're going to find out then, and you will not be happy with what it is that you see. The next here is having a good time. We're having a good time. We're ignoring our cash flow, but we're eating with our friends, having a few drinks, eating some food. But we're not realizing that we are overspending and we are under saving. Not understanding that we're leading ourselves into a financial ruin. So exactly how can we make our cash flow work for us? First thing we can do is set financial goals. But we need to make sure that we're setting short-term and long-term financial goals. Next is to monitor our cash flow with a budget. Actually having a budget so that we can monitor our cash flow. And next is to create a money maintenance system. This is a system that you create in regards to how you will use your money, right? So when let's say it's Friday, you've just got paid, you have, several bills that are due, but you also have some things that you want to go out and have fun with. Your money maintenance system is going to tell you exactly how you are going to spend this money that you just got paid. It's going to instruct you whether you're using cash, whether you're using your card, how much you're going to put aside for your bills, and how much you're going to spend on entertainment. So let's go ahead and get a little bit more into creating this personal budget and how it can lead you to this financial freedom exit that's over here to the right. All right, so the 5 steps to creating a personal budget. Our first step is to understand our cash flow, the cash that's flowing in. The next step is to understand our cash that's flowing in, and then check out the difference between those two. Next is to create a money maintenance budget for the next month. The 4th step is to plan your income ahead of time. It's to have a plan for your money before you receive it. And next is step 5, which is to review your budget often. This is where you're building the relationship with your money and ultimately gaining control. We're going to go a little bit deeper into each of these steps. Inside of your Masterclass workbook guide, there is also templates in here for cash flow as well. I go ahead and suggest that you go to the step 1, where there is a budget sheet, where we talk about calculating your calculating your past cash outflows. This is where we take a look at where you've been spending your money previously. I suggest that you use maybe the most recent 30 days of expenditures. So you can look at your transaction histories, you can look at past receipts, you can look at past bills, you can look at ATM transactions, your billing statement. I encourage you to look at that. Wherever you can actually see the track record of your spending, take a look at it. If you use cash a lot, grab a pen and some paper and start writing down where you spent your money. I also want to encourage you moving forward to keep track of where you are spending your money if you are not doing so electronically. Having that awareness of where your money is going is really, really big. So here we're going to create a list of your monthly expenditures. This information has already been done for you on the worksheet. You'll notice that we have different categories, right? So for charity, there's church, there's other organizations or other. For food and dining, we have groceries for home, right? We have restaurants, any fast food that we're eating out. And we have the housing and utilities category, and we also have an auto and transportation category. So go ahead and make a list of your current, of your monthly expenditures, and we're going to total how much money that you have currently flowing out. You can use your old-fashioned pen and paper like I just mentioned, but you see here how we have, just make sure that you're categorizing your expenses together. As I mentioned before, these worksheets and more, there's more inside of the 5-star money maintenance workbook. So I really want to encourage you to grab this workbook and dive into your finances to develop a money maintenance system to reach your financial goals. So our step 2 in creating our personal budget is to know what's coming in, to calculate your past cash inflows. Again, I recommend you to maybe look at the past 30 days, but just make sure that the time period that you're looking at your past cash inflow matches the same time period in which you're reviewing your cash outflows from the past, okay? And so using the cash inflow section, I encourage you to write down all of the different sources of income that you currently have. If there's not many, that's perfectly fine, but just go ahead and write down what your income previously has been. I want to encourage you to use the net income amount, the amount of income after taxes, and also after any of the other expenses that you may have coming out of your check. And when it comes to creating your personal budget, what we are going to do is calculate your total past net cash flow. So what is that? It's basically the difference between your cash inflow and your cash outflow. So how much money you spent last month compared to how much money you had coming in last month is your net cash flow, right? So we're going to write down our total monthly cash outflow. And then we're going to write down our total monthly cash inflow. And the difference between those two is your total net cash flow. That's basically letting you know how much money you have left over after the bills and all of your expenses have been paid. This is the amount that we want to pay really, really close attention to, because this is the amount that we have, to spend on, entertainment, or just on our wants after our needs have been taken care of. So our past cash net flow will tell you where you are spending your money, or most of it. So you don't want to skip out on this exercise. It'll help you to understand exactly how much fun money or how much discretionary money that you actually have to have fun with. It'll give you a wake-up call to spend less, to save more, or maybe even to do both. It'll also help you to set a commitment to your budget and savings to reach your financial goals. During the financial snapshot evaluation, that's actually a one-on-one session that I do with my clients. And this is where we do a snapshot evaluation where we're evaluating your personal net worth. But one of the greatest things about that is we're going to set solid commitments to savings and to your debt. But how we go about doing that is figuring out your net cash flow first. And so that's why it's so important, because once you have that number, this is where you can actually begin to start making financial plans and setting goals for you to accomplish. Building the budget is one of the most important factors when it comes to making changes in your finances and increasing your savings and seeing your goals being realized. I encourage you to place limits on past spending based on your income and wealth building goals. All right. So basically what that means is, in regards to your income, based on what it is that you have coming in, I want you to put some limits on some of the things that you've been spending your money on in the past. And I want you to put those limits in place so that we're focusing on our wealth building goals. And we're actually going to go into talking about a wealth building strategy here in just a moment. But I know we've been going for quite a while now, and I really hope that this information has been helpful to you, because it's been so much to take in. So let's check out 4 questions to ask yourself when building an effective budget. All right, when reviewing your past expenses by category, I want to make sure that I'm mentioning by category. This is where we determine exactly where you can save money. Think about what expenses you can eliminate. This includes determining what you can sacrifice. This may even be some subscription or memberships. Think about what expenses can I reduce? Something that you can actually just sort of bring down a little bit. One of the first things that comes to mind is food, groceries. Is actually having a meal plan at the beginning of the week, or if you're really fancy, having a meal plan every month, at the beginning of the month. Having some smart shopping on deals, shopping based on what's in the sales paper, planning ahead, and maybe even shopping off season. One of the third questions you can ask yourself is, what amount can I confidently budget to spend next month? Now, when it comes to setting your budget for the next month, I don't want you to feel as though that you're completely restricted. This is an opportunity for you to set limits in place, but to also make sure that it is something that is achievable. And the fourth question is to have that review. It's a review and to revise your previous week or previous month spending. Did I stick to my budget? Yes. Awesome. Let's go ahead and increase our budget to to make it a little bit more so that I can save more, right? Or did I stick to my budget? No. Okay, great. Well, where did I fail in this budget? Where was I spending and I wasn't supposed to? I encourage you to review and revise weekly or even monthly. When creating this personal budget, here we are at step 3, actually creating the budget for the next month. So I want you to take into consideration those 4 questions that I just asked you. And now we're going to review your past expenses and determine where you can save money for the following expenses by category. The reason I want to continue to stressing by category is because it is imperative that you know how much you're spending in certain areas. For example, when it comes to your housing and utilities, there's probably not too much that you can decrease or eliminate in that particular area. But when it comes to the category of food and dining, that's an area where you could probably do a little bit more, have a little bit more flexibility in setting a budget and sticking to it. So I want to encourage you to definitely stay attentive to your spending as far as each category. And again, use those 4 questions that we just went over, and ask yourself those questions when building an effective budget. Next is step 4. This is the one. Like this is the one, you guys. This is a step where it makes the biggest difference. Okay. This is where you're going to plan your paycheck ahead of time. So basically, before you even receive your money, before it even hits your account, you have a full sheet, a full list of your different expense categories and how much you're going to pay for each one. So you can calculate your total monthly expenses and divide it by your monthly frequency of pay. It could be by 3 or 4. And then you would just set aside this amount to pay for each month. So basically what I'm saying here is, let's say, for example, that you have determined your complete monthly expenses is $1,500, right? And, say you get paid every 2 weeks, okay? Well, $1,500, half of that means you get paid twice a month. Half of your monthly expenses is $750. What you're going to do is take $750 from each paycheck. That way, you're knowing for sure that you will have that $1,500 in monthly expenses at the end of the month. And if you could do this, plan to pay certain expenses ahead of time. Set things on auto pay. If you have the ability, if this is something that you can do, try to get 1 month ahead of time, right? Have your $1,500 in monthly expenses already available and sitting in your account and ready to pay for the month of October while it is still September. That way you are a month ahead in your finances. And this can help you to avoid late payments, and it helps you to build your savings and to have a little bit more of discretionary income. All right, step 5. Step 5 is to review your budget often. Basically, rinse and repeat. The key to an effective budget is to make sure that you are working it often. You're not going to go to the gym and exercise once a month and expect amazing results. It just doesn't work that way. The budget is something that you have to continuously give your attention to and build your relationship with. I suggest for you to refer to the workbook, the 5-star money maintenance workbook that we talked about, for the remaining steps in the cash flow. All right, we're almost finished here. Now we are going to talk about your personal financial goals and why they matter. When it comes to financial goals, you have 2 options. These options are very clear. It's very simple. It's not complicated. You can either, 1, have no goals, which means that you will eventually have no money ahead, and it's going to be murky. It's going to be stormy. It's not going to be nice out. It's not going to be comfortable. Or you can have clear goals, clear defined goals with your pen and pad. You're planning ahead. You know what's going on, and you have money available for the things that you need. When it comes to first personal financial goals, these are your only two options. So to help you set those clear goals and to have the money that you need, one of the first things that we should do, or the only things that we need to be doing ultimately, is to set a wealth building strategy. This is a specific plan of goals and actions that you're going to take in order to reach your idea of financial independence. So this isn't just goals, right? These are goals mixed with actions. This is strategy. So exactly how do you determine your wealth building strategy? One is to determine your financial goals. Figure out what comes first. What do you want to accomplish in your financial lifestyle? Next is to set money rules. This is rules in regards to how you will use your money, whether you're using cash, whether you're using your card, or even if you're using Apple Pay or Google Pay. The thing about setting money rules is one thing that I've learned when I started using Apple Pay, I spent a little bit more because you're disconnected with your money when you're not using cash. It doesn't have the same effect of spending $100 in cash versus tapping your phone on the keypad and spending $100. I think it's a little bit of a different effect. So having those money rules in place in regards to how you're going to operate your money. This also could go in regards to, not paying bills late or, having things set up on auto pay. This would also be rules in regards to allowing people to borrow money or even you borrowing money. These are rules that are set in place to help you improve your current situation. Next is to use the SMART goals strategy. If you've heard of the SMART goals strategy, this is a strategy. It's a technique that you use to create clear, defined goals for you to use or for you to accomplish. So I want to take a look at some of the wealth building strategy examples. One of the basic examples that I like to use is Susie Orman. Now, before we actually read this example, I want to keep in mind that this is not a one-size-fits-all strategy. This is just an example strategy that she previously used over the years and suggested for others to use. I like to point out the fact that we have not only goals in here, but we also have actions in here as well. It actually starts out with an action. So the first action is to use cash and debit card only, right? She's going to cut up credit cards. So that's a money rule. There's a goal. That's the second one, is to save $1,000 for an emergency fund. We're going to increase our 401k. You can be more specific in regards to how you're doing that. There's a goal in here to pay off debt and to, have the 3 to 6 months of emergency savings. This particular strategy doesn't necessarily have priority to it, but you can place priority to it. You can actually use this strategy as an example and just sort of change things and make it work directly for your particular situation. But what I like about this strategy is it has a variety of different components. It has a mixture of goals and it has a mixture of actions, and it tells you exactly what you're looking forward to. The next example that we have here is the Dave Ramsey baby steps. Now, a lot of people have mixed feelings about this particular strategy, and that's okay. The reason why they have mixed feelings about this strategy is because it's not a one-size-fits-all strategy. But what I do like about this strategy, it is very simple and it has priority to it. The baby step strategy actually goes in order. He believes that you should save $1,000 for emergencies. Once you have that money saved for emergencies, then is when you pay off all of your debt. And then once your debt is all paid off, that's when you will have, or you would strive to have 3 to 6 months of monthly expenses. And then that's when you're increasing your 401k, you're having college funds for the kids, you pay off your home early, and you build wealth and give. Now, this isn't a terrible strategy. It's just that this order may not work for you and your family. So I do suggest for you, again, to create your own strategy. You can use this one as an example. However, have a mixture of actions and goals in regards to how you want to build wealth. So referring to your workbook guide yet again, here is where you can actually take the few steps to create your own wealth strategy. Again, it's going to be a mixture of financial goals and actions. For our step number one is where I want you to brainstorm and narrow down different money goals that you want to accomplish. So just think about some different financial goals that you want to accomplish and jot them down. Next, I want you to highlight what's most important, what's most impactful, or what's most urgent. What's going to have the most impact to your financial goals? What do you need to accomplish now? Set some priority to it. And then next is to narrow down your goals into 3 to 5 main ones. Go ahead and highlight those and narrow them down to the 3 to 5 or 2 to 4, whatever the magic number is for you, but it should not be more than 4 or 5. Now that you have selected a few goals that you want to focus on, now is when we actually define those goals. And this is where we can use the SMART goals strategy technique, where we're making sure that this goal is specific. We're making sure that it's measurable, it has meaning, and it's something that's achievable, that we can actually attain. It's relevant. It's something that's realistic that we can do. We're not setting a goal to, save $1 million in 1 year. I mean, it sounds great. I love the optimism, but let's be a little bit more realistic. And next is time bound, that it actually has a deadline or a target date that's assigned to it. Once you have defined your money goals, here is an example of what that could look like. I will save $300 for the next 6 months by working DoorDash or in my side hustle every weekend. And I'll be reducing my eating out by 50% to build a rainy day fund. So there's a mixture of financial goals in here, and there's also a mixture of rules. One of the rules is that you're going to be reducing your eating out expenses. The goal is that you are going to be saving $300 every month for the next 6 months. And what is this for? The reason that we're doing this is to build a rainy day fund. How are we going to go about doing this? We're going to dedicate every weekend to working. All right. Here's another one is I will pay an extra $200 to my credit card debt until it's completely paid off. And I will only use them for emergencies, bringing my credit card score to 750. So here we have a goal. The goal is 750 credit score by July 1st. This is just assuming that our goals are set on January 1st. But we also have a rule in the goal in regards to how much we're going to dedicate to our credit card debt. I do suggest that if you are paying off your credit card debt, that you do use a specific strategy in doing so. Again, I can't stress enough, the 5-star money maintenance workbook is the perfect resource for you to build that debt restoration strategy. There's actually some worksheets and templates in there for you to create your very own paying off your debt strategy. So I really encourage you to check that out. All right, our step number 3 to creating a wealth strategy to reaching our goals. Again, go ahead and take a look at that last sheet in there, because this is where we're actually going to create your wealth strategy. So a few tips for you to remember when doing this is to determine exactly how you will use money. Also, to focus on your spending. Set some restrictions in regards to your spending habits. Next is to incorporate your goals. We've set some goals, you've made a list of goals and maybe even made them more specific according to the SMART goals technique. So in your strategy, incorporate some of the goals that you want to accomplish. Also, I want you to consider, what sacrifices can you commit to and save money in? Keep in mind that these sacrifices do not have to be permanent. These can be temporary sacrifices. And next is to prioritize your financial goals. The same way that Dave Ramsey had his baby steps prioritized in regards to what he wanted to accomplish first. Take an opportunity to try to prioritize your goals and to set a priority to your wealth strategy if you find that beneficial. And lastly is to make sure that your wealth strategy is achievable. Make sure that it's something that you feel comfortable that you can achieve, but yet you also are challenging yourself as well. So understanding our financial goals, we need to know that our goals should always have high aspirations. There needs to be an emotional connection that we have to our goals. There has to be an importance, a level of high value that we have in regards to achieving our goals. That way we're staying motivated and just inspired to achieve them. And next is to make sure that we have short-term and long-term goals. We're thinking about the present, but we're also thinking about the futures as well. Most importantly is to write down your goals. Goals that are not written down are merely just dreams. So this actually finishes the Reset and Restart a New Financial Journey Masterclass. I hope that this information was helpful to you, but I do want to share with you what's next. Oh yes, what's next? What's next is to building your ultimate savings plan. This is a great value opportunity to where we have an online mini course. This is a mini course where we have 6 different lessons where I'm walking you through the process and how to create the ultimate savings plan to reach your savings goals. Inside this mini course, like I said, there's 6 different lessons, but it also includes the Save Big and Save Now strategy kit. This is a 20+ page strategy kit where we're actually breaking down your money mindset. We are establishing a financial code, which is like a financial rules or the money rules for you to abide by on the way to achieving your financial goals and setting that saving strategy. So I really want to encourage you to register for this mini course because it will definitely have a direct impact on building a saving strategy for you and your business. All right, you guys, I want to thank you so much for tuning in to this masterclass. If you found it valuable, definitely add your information or just leave me some notes in the comments. Let me know what you thought. Share with me what was most helpful, to you about this masterclass. I would love to talk with you about your money. Let's connect on social media. Outside of that, do the work because doing the work gets you the results. Thank you so much for your time, you guys. Stay inspired.